Hello, my name is Mag. I am a 43-year-old woman living in London, and I have had COVID for 6 months now. Whether you refer to it as long COVID or post-COVID syndrome, I wanted to tell you about my experience in order to share what I've gone through and to help inform others of that journey. Previous to July 22nd, when I contracted COVID, I was very much a sporty person. I cycled about 2,000 kilometers around the London area as part of my lockdown exercise in the months leading up to when I got COVID. And I would have walked the dog a couple of times a day. I'm in a choir. I had, the regular sort of life of going to work. I'd been to Argentina in January, hiking mountains. Activity and going is my natural state. So I got the virus, and I think I got a positive test about maybe 5 days in or something like that from when my symptoms started to show. The virus itself presented as a really mild flu or head cold. It wasn't a big deal at all. I didn't go to hospital. I didn't go to the doctor. In fact, at that time, it was very much a time where you keep away from the NHS because you felt it was under stress already. And I know that viruses work themselves out. Haha. So then I proceeded to have the virus, isolate, take it really easy. And then it was August, and I went out for my first walk with the dog post-isolation, and it didn't feel so bad. I mean, I had that fatigue that you have post-a-virus where you've got to get yourself back to normal. What was different about this was instead of getting better after a period of time, I got worse. So my symptoms for the first 9 weeks, the main one, and I'll talk about main ones taking over, but the underlying fatigue and tiredness and feeling of fighting something and weird heart stuff was always there. But in the first few weeks, it was about 9 weeks actually worth of urinary tract infections and 3 courses of antibiotics, and however, and all the other stuff is underneath that. A UTI on its own is very, exhausting. And that symptom started the exact same time as the COVID symptoms started. So they were joined together. Then I would have said that the next thing, once the UTI started to be not the main thing anymore, the fatigue was the main thing, just the breathlessness and sort of chest pains, of breathing, and I do stress that I think I'm on the lower end of the scale. Like, I've heard stories about other people now, it's coming out more and more, who, a doctor was telling her story yesterday of how she's been neurologically affected and she is getting worse, and she's now using crutches from having been a fully able-bodied doctor in training. So I think that what I have, which is a consistent thing, is not the worst at all. I think the next big thing that happened was I got a chest infection, and that felt really scary. I've never had such difficulty breathing or pain or sounds or congestion. That continued for a while, and then it eased a bit, but I'm constantly feeling breathless and tired. I got on a UCLH clinical study and on cover scan prospectum MRI study. The clinical study was really useful. I saw a physio, I had loads of blood tests, I had echocardiograms and ECGs. The physiotherapy, which pointed towards breathing pattern disorder, was really helpful. That helps alleviate a lot of pain in my chest, because in the sort of post-viral state, I'd started to breathe more from up here than my stomach. So that was actually quite easily remediable, fixable. The next thing then is it's kind of a continuation then. Then there was some stomach stuff which lasted a couple of weeks. Then the chest stuff, the lung sort of infection feeling would come back. But I always sort of would wake up every morning feeling just knocked out. I've more now kind of gone through 3 or 4 sort of chest infections, but they're not real infections, so they feel like real infections. I'm coughing a lot, but I feel like it's my body doing it to itself, and I'm not a medical expert, but it's just a bit different. It's less like an external virus. I feel it's inside me. This is going on. Headaches, tiredness, sluggishness, exhaustion. I'll go for a walk, and it'll be in a granny pace. My heart rate will be up above 100. If I go on any hill incline, it's like I'm in a spin class, and I'm talking about walking really slowly. I'll go for a walk if it's too long according to my body, which is really can be much shorter than one would expect what too long is now. Then I'll have trouble sleeping because I'll feel really anxious, and it's my body telling my brain I'm anxious. So it's that kind of exhausted feeling of heavy chestedness and not being able to sleep. It's just really, I feel cognitively that I haven't been affected the way other people suggest about brain fog. My limits are much less of how long I can do anything for, and I can't really say that after 5 I'm worth much in the cognitive department. I can do a few hours of something a day. In fact, if I don't do that, then I feel my mental health is really affected. I find mental health is a huge struggle in this. Thankfully, I have an occupational therapist trying to teach me how to rest and accept and create an outlook that's day to day and not with the goal orientation that I had before. So it's a very different life. At times it feels really hopeless and emotional because I don't know when it's going to end, if it will end, if I will have the version of life that I had before back, if I will wake up. Like I had actually 3 days where I felt normal at the start of the year, and in terms of just tired normal, where I didn't wake up feeling like I was fighting something, feeling kind of sore and achy. And that felt really lovely and like a little boost, but I didn't commit that was it, I was fixed now. And immediately then I'm back in to another sort of chest infection cycle. So it is long. I'm not able to work. I'm a contractor in IT. I've been doing some training whilst I've been unable to work in the coaching department to keep my mind occupied, which is helping with mental health and encouraged by my occupational therapist. In terms of, finances, if I didn't have an insurance policy that was in place for my limited company, then I would be in really bad shape right now. I'm not really being supported by the government in terms of being a limited company contractor. That's not in judgment, it's just in fact. And I feel that I really had to fight in August for attention and meaning, which is completely understandable with the logistics of a new disease and the strain on the NHS. It's not a comment to put blame on anyone. It's merely saying that maybe the flow isn't in place yet for new people who are starting out on this journey. Hopefully we'll get to a point where GPs are referring people to the post-COVID syndrome clinics, and over time that in those clinics enough data will be gathered and some breakthroughs to how to help people like me. So I would say if you're feeling that you've had COVID and you're exhausted and you're experiencing symptoms, then you're not alone, and it could be a long road, and we don't know when it'll be over, but certainly I've heard of other people who have recovered from this. Rest is vital. It's not one you can power your way through. Reach out to your GP, try and get a referral. and do as much to have a stress-free life as you can within the craziness of the world we're living in at the moment. And just be gentle to yourself. And if we can help each other, that's great. And I hope that this video is just a way that I can make somebody else who's going through this not feel as alone, or that someone in the government will use it as a tool to inform others of a case study. It's really just to share information. Thank you for listening. I hope you're all safe and doing okay as you can in this pandemic. Best wishes.